p.m. on the East Coast. That's 5:35 p.m. GMT. We are live. We'd love to hear from you. When you get in the queue at area code 646-716-9835, hit the one button. That one button sends me a flag. That flag lets me know you want to be heard on your LIB radio. We're in a new year. People are anticipating significant change politically, economically, socially. A lot of people are really scared. Or as I say, a lot of people are really scared. They're really frightened. There's been a great deal of apprehension. Personally, I'm not that scared. Change is coming. Change is constant. Change is good, especially when you have prepared yourself for change. Are things perfect? No, far from perfect. There's still too much suffering in the world, too much poverty in the world, too many hungry babies in the world, too many people dying of infectious diseases, parasitic diseases that we know we can overcome if we just better organize ourselves. And so that's what we're about. Let us better organize ourselves. But today we're not talking so much about that. Today we're asking the question, what do you think about the nearly completed 8-year presidency of Barack H. Obama? Do you think it was good? Was it good for you? Was it good for your family, your community? What about this metric coming out of Chicago, the political hometown of the president? It was Chicago that gave him his wings, his political wings to become president. He couldn't have got that from Hawaii. It gave him his political wings that allowed him to be ushered in to be president. What about what happened in Chicago now? At the end of the year, the death toll from murder in Chicago reached 762, blowing away numbers, the highest numbers of murder in Chicago since the 1990s. That's very shocking. I've got another caller who has joined us from area code 803. Do give us your name. Where are you calling from?
Greetings, Baba Keidi. This is Brother Shabaka.
Oh, welcome.
Calling from Madison, Alabama.
All right. Great to have you joining us. You don't have a banjo on your knee, do you?
No, I don't.
All right. We got you up for the show. Analyzing the Obama presidency. Talk to us now.
To answer the question, if it was a good thing or a bad thing, I would say it was both. And I'll explain why I say that.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing about the Obama administration, the last 8 years, it got more people to pay attention and to discuss politics again,
mm-hmm.
which is very important because if we don't know about the people and their belief systems and their track record, when they get into politics, if we don't talk about that stuff, we aren't able to make a more conscious decision on whether or not we would support that person.
Mm-hmm.
The bad thing about the Barack Obama administration is it also got people to fall in love with an idea without having any substance behind it.
Mm.
And it also causes a lot of divide in people's families. And that's a very bad thing in a very crucial time period.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think that this last administration and this present administration is actually going to bring people, I think it's going to bring people to pay more attention to what's going on. And that's what I have to say about the administration.
Uh-huh. Do you anticipate any particular changes that will be occurring with the inauguration of Donald Trump as president? Any anything in particular you're looking at is going to be changing?
Anything in particular? I think it's going to be a crunch on the financial burden. I think the financial burden on people is going to be heavier. I think just like you guys discussed on Sunday, the pharmaceutical industry is going to. I think they're going to have a bigger push. Because I've seen here, I've been watching some football this weekend. I've seen more pharmaceutical commercials. It's going to be a lot of pressure put on people, and I think people just have to buckle down, be a little wiser with their choices financially, and get back to building stronger relationships with your loved ones and your friends. I think that's what this new administration might do.
Now, the new president has pledged that the top priority of his administration will be the return of blue-collar industrial jobs to the country in large measure. We have seen a significant increase in employment and job creation under Barack Obama, but they have been poor jobs. They're not really living wage jobs. Yes. Do you think that one of the differences that Trump administration, one of the distinctions it will make above the Obama administration is that the new jobs they will be creating will be better paying jobs, better blue-collar wage jobs?
I can't answer that question right now because I haven't seen anything to sway my decision one way or the other. It's just, if someone makes a promise, that's a very sensitive thing. If you know a person in their history, and they make a promise to you, then you can judge. You can make a judgment in a clearer mind. But if a stranger makes a promise to you, you know nothing about this person, so those are just words. There has to be some actions behind those words. Now, the idea of having better paying jobs is a wonderful idea because that's what the country needs. But time will tell. I just hope people don't latch on to that promise and not hold him accountable for the words that he makes, that he says to people.
Now, in the aftermath of his presidency, Barack Obama has made indicators that he wants to go into the field of public community development, working with the group My Brother's Keeper. I'm going to get your final response on this. What do you think about the idea that, the president will be now working for the self-interest of black people after his presidency, working with this group, My Brother's Keeper? Your final thoughts. Wrap it up, and then I'm going to bring my guest on.
My final thought for all the Obama lovers, you might get a chance to see exactly what you think about this guy. Because if he's going to make that move, that means he's not only going to be saying words, he's going to have some actions behind his words. And his actions will let you know exactly where he's coming from.
All right.
And I hope people don't get disappointed.
I agree with you completely. Tell you what, I've got my guests on for this hour. Thanks so much, Mr. Barker, for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you, Baba Keidi. Always.
Always appreciate you. Let me just introduce my guest. I'll make the introduction real quick. He is living in the California Bay Area. He's a graduate of San Francisco University, or University of San Francisco, where he reached He received his Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Ethnic Studies. He also continued his master's studies at Golden Gate University in San Francisco and received a master's in public education. And he's also gotten his educational administration certification. My guests, who's got a number of books out he's written, include The Black Expatriate in Africa, Journey to the Motherland from San Francisco to Benin City, an autobiographical biography, a novel or autobiographical novel, History to Destiny through Afrocentric Poetry, Loving Black Women, Long Distance Love, and his latest two works have focused on American challenges in the Obama era, Part 1 and Part 2. Let me welcome in my guest for this hour, Brother Larry Ukali Johnson Aquaba. Welcome, Brother Ukali.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome. It's great to be on the program, which has been a couple of years again,
It's been a little while since we've had you here, and we're a little pressed for time, but we can extend the clock here today to be able to accommodate. While we were waiting for you to queue up, we heard from some of our listeners giving their perspectives about the Obama administration, the impact that it had on their lives, community, etc. You have written two works now examining American challenges in the Obama era. Where are you going with these particular works, Brother Larry?
Well, it started out, just being an analysis of the new situation in 2008 with Obama taking over. And, we all had mixed pictures at that point. Some of us thought, it was going to be the beginning of a post-racial society. Some of us thought, we have made it to the promised land. Some of us thought that there was going to be a massive amount of change and that America would look different. Some of us, of course, were more skeptical and, just wanted to see how it would be possible, and what would change during a presidential administration. So, I started out on that venture then because back in 2000, I had decided to write a novel, and I never wrote it, thank God. It was a novel about the first black president, and I had projected it being somewhere near 2045 when they, the studied deadline was supposed to take place where there would become more non-white people in America than white people. So I had used that as a foundation, and I was projecting in 1948. And so when this thing came up in 2008, I was thinking of 2048, So when the thing come up with Obama's administration in 2008, I said, okay, let's go with this right now. Because, I already wanted to see what was going to happen. And, of course, I don't think any of us are really surprised that white supremacy kind of held Obama back the whole 8 years he was in many different ways and in many different forms. So here we have it, the first black president, and we saw, America showing its behind by, the majority leader saying he wanted to make sure he didn't cooperate with Obama because he thought that would be something like a, he didn't want him to have 2 terms. He didn't want him to be successful. But rarely would a majority leader come out so forcefully. And, of course, it was obvious that we could interpret it that, McConnell didn't want Obama to have 2 terms because he didn't want a brother in there, Anyway, we...
Continue.
Yeah, well, you could agree or disagree, but, that seems to be a plausible, conclusion. We noticed that during the time period, the assassination of African Americans by police and by white vigilantes continued unabated, as though white supremacy was stronger than the presidency. And so these are the kind of issues that are explored in both books, and both Obama Part Challenges in the Obama Era Part 2. Mm-hmm. And so I started to analyze these measures both as a government teacher, because I taught government in Nigeria 4 years, and I've always taught, government even at Hayward and adult school in different places. So I wanted to analyze it both from a government student teacher perspective, but also from the front lines of the Black Liberation Movement. And that's why the book is going to be very contemporary and covers a lot of the issues that we as a people are facing today, such as the police brutality, but more than that, it's continuing racial discrimination and continuing struggle that we're going to have and have been having for 500 years against white supremacy, because all these matters have not disappeared with the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've heard sufficient criticism of Barack Obama from people within the African-centered, black nationalist, Pan-African community, that his presidency set us back, as well as I'm sure that you have heard from a broad spectrum of people who will say, hey, I ride with Obama to the end. What is your perspective on the idea that the Obama presidency has it been divisive or unifying of the African heritage population in this country, African Americans, if you want to use that term?
1, which is about 220 pages, and Obama 2, which is about 220 pages. American.
I don't want to sit here and talk for however long until my guest comes onto the program. I don't want to sit here and talk about what I've said dozens and dozens and dozens of times. I would prefer to hear you, to listen to you. So right now, somebody give me a call. Somebody give us a call at 646-716-9835 and share your perspectives on the impact of the Obama presidency on our community, the nation, the world, and the prospects for peace and prosperity around the world. I would love it to hear from some of you. I think your opinions do matter. You share your opinions freely when we get together in social occasions and things. I hear people calling into various radio stations sharing their perspectives, and sometimes they get rushed on their perspectives. I do have my first phone call for the show. We've got a caller up on area code 813. Do give us your name. Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Ndoni Aho, and I'm calling from Tampa, Florida. How are you today?
Wonderful, wonderful. Did I get your name correct? Was it Ndoni?
Ngoni.
Ngoni.
I'm going to turn my radio off because I hear echo.
Okay, we've got you, Ngoni, and it's a pleasure, absolutely a pleasure to hear from you today. Yes, definitely listen only to the telephone, otherwise you'll be listening to two different time zones. What's on your mind today, Sister Ngoni?
Well, I just heard you raise the question about people's perspective on the impact of Obama. I'm still hearing a echo.
An echo?
Can you hear echo?
Not.
Maybe it's just on my end. Should I hang up and call back in, maybe?
If it is persisting here, try it now. See if it's still echoing now. Sometimes things get caught in a crazy loop.
Can you?
I
can still hear it. I'm going to hang up and call back in. I can still hear it. I'm going to hang up and call back in.
Okay, you call right back in. We definitely want to hear your perspective.
All right.
All right. Respect.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We're going to get that caller right up. Sounded like a very well-grounded, culturally grounded sister. And here on LIB Radio, your perspectives do matter. I need to know. We all need to know how we feel as a collective. And I'm going to do my best not to argue with people or try and crush people's perspectives on what they perceive the world. I want to learn. I want to know. I think all of us should be feeling that way. And I do have that call right back on. And Sister Ngoni, I hope you've got...
Oh, I hope so, too. I don't hear an echo, so that's wonderful.
There you go. What it is the NSA sometimes be using that cheap equipment.
Oh, I see. Yes. Actually, I do hear it, but I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. So I hope it's not impacting your recording.
It's no problem at all over here. You sound great.
Okay, great. Well, I'd just like to say that I'm not disappointed in the Obama regime because I listened very carefully when he was campaigning. And when he started beating the war drums, I was very disappointed, almost to tears, because like anyone else of African descent, I wanted to be proud, thinking that, wow, finally a change. But I knew when McCain and the others started pushing him what he would do about Afghanistan, this and that and the other, and his responses, I knew that it would be same, different day. Mm-hmm. And it has been for the past 8 years, in my view. Now, I'm not going to say he hasn't done anything worth note because I don't know everything he's done. I have had a lot of feedback from others who defend him no matter what, that he
the world. I want to learn. I want to